what is the definition of management? Management is making a decision. The knock-on consequences of any human action, practice, or policy can be traced back to someone, somewhere, making a decision. Globally, we are experiencing the now rapidly increasing consequences of our actions, which can only mean one thing. We have to change how our decisions are being made. The only way we are ever going to address our increasing global environmental collapse and climate change is if we change what we are doing that is causing it. Right now, the way we make decisions and develop policies results in us considering, studying, and managing our societies and economies as if they are separate from the natural world. They are not. Human societies and nature are not separate things that sometimes overlap somewhere in the middle. They exist as one inseparable, hugely complex whole. Everything we use or consume on Earth comes from our life-supporting environment. No society or economy can exist without nature. We have to learn how to make sure our decisions and policies reflect this universal law, because right now they do not. If you look around the world today, you will notice that our increasing problems and failures fall into only 3 categories: social, economic, or environmental. And those are the only 3 things that we as human beings manage. Everything else falls under what we manufacture or produce and use as tools and technology to help us as we manage ourselves and our environment. Our management is what's failing, and we now know why. The need for a holistic management framework has long been obscured because of the successes we have achieved without one. In the current management paradigm, we are still usually able to meet our short-term objectives, but at huge long-term expense. We have been able to develop increasingly sophisticated forms of technology with which to exploit Earth's resources and to make life more comfortable for ourselves. But we've not been able to do that without seriously damaging our environment at the same time. For example, on farms, agricultural chemicals and machinery are temporarily helping farmers to produce much higher crop yields. But this destroys soil organisms, and the result of doing this is the constant destruction of our life-supporting living soil, which is something humans just cannot afford to do. So now, more than ever, we need the ability to make decisions that simultaneously consider the complex social, economic, and environmental realities of our decisions and policies in both the short and the long term. We now know there is a glitch in our inherited decision-making process, which is found at the point of making the decision itself. So that's where we have to adjust things. We have to have a way to make sure that we are no longer making any decision from the reduced view of either a social or a financial or an environmental perspective, but from the overarching perspective and reality of all 3 simultaneously, because they are inseparable. We have to have a way to guarantee we are always zooming out to big picture clarity at the point of decision and test that any practice, action, or policy is leading towards the broad new perspective of a holistic context. The holistic management framework essentially makes it impossible for anyone to make an unsound decision or policy, because it's a guiding, filtering process that connects our physical and financial stability to ecological health, which ensures that every decision, action, practice, or policy will be simultaneously socially, economically, and environmentally sound, and appropriate for whatever the entirely unique, complex circumstances that decision is being made within, in both the short and the long term.